Matt, disappointing result tonight. Was it just a case of being beaten by a very good side?
A good team, and they looked a good team in the first half. I just felt we got physically outmanoeuvred in too many areas, certainly in that first half period, but then to fall behind to a set piece was disappointing. But on the scale of the play in the first half, we certainly didn't play our best, and they had the better of the possession and the field position, and then in the second half we were much improved, looked like we were creating chances, and then it was all of a sudden we're 2-0 down, and that's a mountain to climb, and a really difficult one at this level against a good team, but we tried our hardest, got the goal late on. It was just too late in relation to the consolation. We actually had chances before that went in.
Is it disappointing that both goals came from the same side, both came from left-hand side crosses?
Yes, but one's from a second favours of a set piece. I think we've headed out the first one towards the back post, and no one's just took the knowledge of the moment to just release out and put pressure on the ball. Everyone's kind of stayed a little bit panicky and a little bit nervous and stayed around with the bodies in the middle of the box, and someone just had to put pressure on the ball. So that was an aspect where we've got to be a little bit better than we have been in the past. But my biggest gripe with that first half, because physically at times we couldn't quite match them and we couldn't quite compete. We weren't quite brave enough in possession. We weren't quite brave enough with the ball. We didn't play forward enough. We didn't make enough forward touches and then forward runs. So all of a sudden it was a bit of a battle, and we were coming out second best for that first half period. But a much improved showing second half, and that second goal was a real killer.
It's quite a heavy pitch just down in front of the main stand here. We saw it in the first half, particularly that caused us a few problems.
I think same for both teams, Craig. In fairness to the pitch, it probably took the weather they've had up here pretty well. It could have been in a lot worse condition, and it didn't stop both teams from trying to play football. We probably played our best football too late on in that game. We needed to do that a little bit earlier. I know it's such a difficult task, and I'm asking players to do things which sometimes they're uncomfortable doing, but we had to somehow wrestle an aspect of our game into that game, and we weren't able to do that for too long a period. The start of the second half looked a bit more like us, but like I said, it seemed to be us in the ascendancy, and then the second goal didn't come out of nowhere, but it was too cheap.
Obviously we certainly had our chances this evening. No idea how the goalkeeper's made that double save.
He's a good goalkeeper. He's probably the best goalkeeper in the league, in all fairness, and that's those fine margins we always talk about. The feel around the place would have been totally different if one of those chances had gone in, and all of a sudden it was 1-1. As it happened, it turned into a 2-0 game, and we're opening up the pitch and we're taking risks. We still actually created a few good chances, but for a good goalkeeping display, we might have got in that game a little bit earlier than we did.
Let's take some positives from tonight. First, I thought Sam Stubbs was absolutely outstanding at times.
He was, and in fairness, I thought Pearce, Sam and Groundsy were where they needed to be, certainly in terms of the physical aspect of the game. I just felt the rest of the group struggled with that aspect which I've mentioned, and then you're looking for that group to get hold of the ball, and we weren't able to do that often enough. But to get Sam through another 90 minutes, he was absolutely immense. To get Groundsy good game time, to get Oz on the pitch at the end, all of a sudden we had a physical aspect to our front line, which we probably missed up until that point. But it's still a learning curve for some of those players. Josh Key will be better for tonight. Archie Collins will be better for tonight. These aren't seasoned pros by any means, but they were playing against seasoned pros at times tonight, and it probably showed.
Matt J on the score sheet. You spoke earlier in the week about him needing to find his form again, and it wasn't enough in the end, but a big moment for him personally. Yeah,
and there was a lot of nearly moments for MJ throughout the game, certainly in that second half. So that could be a bigger goal than it's given credit for. It doesn't feel like anything. It feels like a consolation moment right now. But in terms of MJ's confidence and a little booster for him, because he's been short of those moments. So I'm really pleased he slapped that in at the end, and the ball was just bouncing around. I don't know how the one previous to that didn't end up in the back of the net. Somehow we've got to make sure that ball goes over the line, and that was just the way the night went.
It's probably a difficult one to say with 14 games to go, but did tonight feel like an opportunity missed?
Well, in terms of the game tonight, it's an opportunity missed. If we'd have taken anything, or if we were going to take anything from that game tonight, we'd have had to play at our absolute best, and in all honesty we weren't quite there in too many departments tonight. So sometimes you've got to dig in and stay in the game in a different manner, and we couldn't quite do that as well. So to take a result at Mansfield away, we would have to play really, really well, and as well as we played at times tonight, it wasn't collectively well.
Talking of opportunities, there's 3 home games in a row now, which is a huge opportunity.
Yeah, this isn't too big, Craig. Let's be honest. There's 14 games left, and 14 games is a lot of football left to play. Any team coming to Mansfield will find it difficult, and I'll be very surprised if they finish outside of the top 3 with the momentum they've got and the players they've got. They're a really impressive team, but we're not a bad team ourselves, and we've given them a proper game tonight. We've fallen short, but we've given them a proper game.
Matt, thanks a lot.